Or are they going to be like, well, we probably shouldn't do that because people hated when we did something different. Let's just have another season of Mando and Grogu. Let's just throw in there CGI Luke Skywalker because that'll make everyone in the fandom happy because we're bringing back this beloved character. It's exhausting. So there's been so much going on as of late in the Star Wars fandom online, and I finally want to get on here and just talk about everything that's been going on, my thoughts and opinions, and just the future of Star Wars storytelling in general. My name is Scotty Holiday. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a queer Star Wars creator. Please consider liking, subscribing, and following me on social media for all my latest Star Wars content. So for those of you who don't know, a little known show called The Acolyte came out this year and caused a lot of noise online, a lot of it really bad and unwarranted. You know, if you want my thoughts on that show, I reviewed every single episode, so make sure you check that out at the link in the cards. But we want to talk about kind of the fallout and the most recent news of the show not getting renewed for a second season. Despite the show not being my favorite at times, overall, I liked The Acolyte, and I liked the fantasy elements of it. It had some of the best combat we have seen, in my opinion, since the prequel trilogy. I was really interested to see where the show would go from here. It set up so many different things at the end, like it concluded the story, sure, but I want to know what happens with Osha and the Stranger. I want to know what's going on with Darth Plagueis. I want to know about Yoda's thoughts on everything. There were so many teases that we got at the end of that series that really set up so many new plot developments of where the story could go in a season 2 and in the future, and as of right now, we're not getting that. Overall, I personally think that it's really due to all the backlash that the series got, the review bombing, the racism, the misogyny, the homophobia. It's just insane that in the Star Wars fandom in general, in a galaxy of so many different people, so many different species, it's these mundane real world biases that people want to talk about. You know, they want to complain about bricks and screws. They want to complain about diversity. But it's like, we have all these things in our world, and as a society, how would you not expect to see that in other storytelling? Like me as a queer person, I want to see people who are like me in my Star Wars stories. Most Star Wars stories are white men and women, and mostly white men. And there's so many different people in the fandom who are not just white straight men, and that's something that people need to get used to. This show in general was really good. I don't want to make this video about how much I love The Acolyte or what I didn't like or why I think it should be renewed for a second season, but kind of in the fallout of that, how it made me feel and where I think Star Wars storytelling could go, or where it's kind of boxed itself in to go from here. Initially, when I learned that The Acolyte wasn't getting renewed, my first thought was, well, I figured as much because so many people complained online about it. Like, there were some really nice points in the fandom where we all kind of came together to combat the hate. And those were really great moments in the fandom. But unfortunately, a lot of the bad moments of homophobia, racism, misogyny kind of stayed at the forefront, and it was like no matter what we did, even if we didn't engage with those people, it was like the algorithms were pushing those people and pushing their tweets, their videos, you know, whatever it may be. It was just really unfortunate to see. After I kind of thought about it and I thought about what the series brought to Star Wars in general, it brought in diverse characters, so much representation. People who had not seen themselves in Star Wars before could see themselves in these characters. We got more queer Star Wars couples with Mother Anisea and Mother Coral. I don't want to say they were like the best queer representation we've gotten on screen. Like, in the confirmed queer representation that we've got, we have the kiss and the rise of Skywalker, which I'm just going to leave it at that. We have Vel and Cinta. I like them a lot. They're great characters, but their relationship is not at the forefront. Do they put their relationship on hold for the greater good? So we don't get to see a lot of it. But with Mother Coral and Mother Anisea, here's a queer couple that has children. So that was something we had never seen before. And I love that for the representation of it all. And it's little things like that as I kind of thought back on what I loved about the show. I mean, the moment where Osha tells her mom, like, in the end, she does want to be a Jedi. It's what she wants. It felt like a parallel to the coming out experience, and that really resonated with me. All those thoughts started creeping in, and I was just kind of like, damn, this really does suck. And it feels like the people on the other side, almost like they won. Everything that we kind of were fighting for, we lost, or that Disney decided that it wasn't worth it. You know, they're not going to make as much money if people talk about the show badly. They didn't like the show, warranted or not. You know, they just gave in to those opinions and they were like, well, this isn't going to make us money because, you know, everybody online hated it and views weren't great, or, you know, whatever it may be, whatever capitalism bullshit they want to call. I'm not going to lie, I did get kind of bummed for a few days, and it was in the back of my head for a few days afterwards. And I mean, it still sucks, but like at this point I'm just kind of accepted it, which also sucks because I don't want that to be the case. I don't want it to feel like, you know, my flame has gone out in the fight. But all we can really do is just talk about online what we liked about the show. Like I said, and if you watch my reviews, you know there were whole episodes that I did not love, but there was a lot of good things that I did love. And in general, with so many shows, the first seasons usually aren't the best. Everyone in the fandom loves to use the example of the Clone Wars. Everybody hated Ahsoka, supposedly everyone, in season 1 of the Clone Wars, but now she's one of the most beloved characters and is now leading her own show in live action. You know, Rebels. I was kind of a Rebels hater when Rebels started, and now I love Rebels as well. And there's so many other shows in other fandoms and just on TV in general that, you know, their first seasons weren't that great. They didn't hook people, but it was allowing those creators to continue their story and to continue to build upon the foundation that they created that got people to love these shows. And nowadays it's like, oh, this show didn't make back more money than we spent on it. Well, I guess we just won't make another one and we'll move on to whatever we think the next big thing is. And we're just going to repeat the cycle until, you know, we hit a gold mine. How many gold mines are you actually shutting down by not allowing this show to continue or this series to continue without realizing it? I even posted a meme, and I wouldn't even call it a meme, but like, you know, the image of Padme from Revenge of the Sith. This is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. And I posted, this is how creativity dies, with thunderous applause. I mean, that's how I felt in the moment. I'm like, wow, this show took a risk. They tried to do something different. They added new things to the galaxy. They enhanced Star Wars and the mythos of it all. And it was just decided that it wouldn't be renewed. And the loudest part of the fandom or online was clapping. They were happy. They were like, we won. We all said this was horrible from the get-go, and now Disney has acknowledged that and said, you know what, you were right. And that just feels so shitty. And I got a ton of hate on that post, which I expected, but I'm still gonna stand my ground and, you know, say how I feel. If you want to talk about how I'm dumb, or, you know, how queer people shouldn't be in Star Wars, there was even just things that weren't even related to the Acolyte that were posted under that tweet, and I was just like, this is insane. It is just a TV show, y'all. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. That's what I do. Everybody loves Stranger Things. I don't really like Stranger Things. I watched and it wasn't my vibe, so I just don't watch it. I don't vibe with Marvel, but I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, Marvel is so horrible, nobody should watch it because it's trash. Like, just because you don't like something doesn't mean other people can't like it. Some of my favorite things in Star Wars are some other fans' least favorite thing in Star Wars. And that's okay. That's the great part about this galaxy and fandom in general, is that we can all find little things that we love and connect with other people that love those things. So I recently got into a conversation after making my Padme post with another fan on Instagram, and I was just kind of like, okay, so what do we have to look forward to moving forward in the future with Star Wars storytelling now that we know we're not getting that more Acolyte? I compiled a list and basically what it comes down to is what we have to look forward to is the Mandoverse. That's it. We have the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew, and I guess Book of Boba Fett, which unfortunately I forgot about and didn't even think about it being a part of the Mandoverse storytelling until I was like preparing my outline for this. So sorry, Book of Boba Fett. Of course, we have the Jon Favreau movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Whether or not that's taking the place of Mandalorian Season 4, who knows? And then, of course, we have Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie, the climactic finale, and that's supposed to be the end. The Mandoverse itself, in my opinion, has been a very slow crawl to get started. And I don't know if that's because it wasn't originally supposed to be what it's turned into now, or it's this big climactic story taking pieces of Heir to the Empire and Thrawn's return and being this big battle between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant. It's almost like they're trying to create like a trilogy of movies but split up into shows between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. But the problem is when they're doing all these little 8-episode shows, and it's taken since 2019, it's been 5 years, and Thrawn is finally back in the known galaxy. It's just like, is it just me, or is this kind of taking forever to get started? Like, we're just at the starting point. I don't imagine next time we see Thrawn, he's going to be going straight into battle. I don't even know if he has the forces to go straight into battle, but that's kind of what it comes down to. So I wanted to kind of go over the events of the Mandoverse and how it's been set up so far in all the different shows between the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and I guess eventually Skeleton Crew, which we still don't know. It's confirmed that it's tied into the Mandoverse, but the only thing I can think of is the pirates. So The Mandalorian Season 1 came out in November 2019, and Season 1 introduced us to Dr. Pershing and the Imperial Cloning Initiative. Book of Boba Fett happened in 2021 and didn't really add anything to the Mandoverse that I can think of. So let me know in the comments if I missed some big key point from the series that ties into the Mandoverse. Maybe they add more Cobb Vanth into the story, to add Cad Bane into the story, and I guess get Grogu back with Mando. Then it served its purpose, at least with Grogu and Mando, but with Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth to be continued. So Mando Season 2 comes out in October 2020, and we get the episode The Jedi, with Ahsoka asking Morgan Elsbeth, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? Plus, we also get the mysterious Imperial cloning facility on Navarro with those weird clones inside that I always thought was alluding to Snoke, but Mando Season 3, kind of what I think was a retcon, said they were Gideon's clones or Gideon's cloning initiative, so take that as you will. Mando Season 3 then came out in March 2023. It added to the New Republic, which was nice, and gave us some lore there with the amnesty program. It sets up the New Republic and their incompetencies and how they're trying to build up a new system within this fallen system. If anything, my favorite thing that's been added into the Mandoverse is New Republic storytelling. And we get more of that later on with Chancellor Mon Mothma, seeing kind of how things are going about. They don't have a military, they have these marshals going out into the galaxy, and that's about it. And then of course we get the Shadow Council scene. We learn that the pirates that were attacking Navarro were actually working for the Imperials. We get the first mention of Thrawn's return from the Imperial standpoint from Captain Pelion, and then we get Moff Gideon's clones, which are all killed. Then in Ahsoka Season 1, which came out in August 2023, Hera warns the New Republic officials about Thrawn's return, and we get Thrawn's return to the known galaxy. Skeleton Crew, which comes out this December 2024, it's supposed to have the pirates from the Mandalorian in it, how it's going to connect to the wider Mandoverse. I know there's been rumors and people have talked about seeing scenes of the parents of the children who are the main characters working within the New Republic. I'm not sure if it's going to really tie into things on a galactic scale, but it might flesh out more of the New Republic, which, I mean, I'm a prequel kid. I love the politics of Star Wars, so I do enjoy the New Republic stuff. And then this also has me wondering, on top of the Mandoverse, are we getting a Mandalorian Season 4? Who knows? I kind of think that The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be serving as the final installment of the Mandalorian series and kind of a climactic movie ending, at least for this period of time. I'm sure we'll get Grogu in the future, but we got a lot of great Mandalorian lore in Season 3, and like, I'm a huge Bo-Katan stan, and that's what makes me like Mando Season 3 on top of all the New Republic world building. But like, I hope we get more Bo-Katan in both Mandalorian movies, and I'd like to see her reunite with Ahsoka at some point in this timeline as well. But are we gonna get a Mando Season 4? At this point, I don't think so. I could see us getting a new series that involves characters from the Mandalorian series, especially Grogu, but I don't know if they're gonna give us more Mandalorian, but who knows, because they're canceling everything else except the Mandalorian, it seems, so who knows, maybe we'll just get season 5 and they'll be like, the movie served as season 4, so no, we're just going to season 5, or they'll be like, Grogu, a Mandalorian story or some so that's what we really have to look forward to. Of course, there's Andor season 2. I think it's confirmed 2025. And other than that, it's just movies. And with Star Wars track record, who knows if we will even get to ever see these movies. We have the Dawn of the Jedi movie by James Mangold, and the new Jedi Order movie starring Rey by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. And there's already drama about the new Jedi Order movie from sequel haters. The same people that hated the Acolyte are probably the same people that hate this movie even before they've seen anything about it because of misogyny and racism. So that's what we currently have to look forward to. In contrast, let me go through the list of canceled Star Wars series and movies that have been announced, that have already been canceled, or that we just haven't gotten any updates on since they were announced. Rogue Squadron, the movie by Patty Jenkins, Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss's Star Wars trilogy, Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9 Duel of the Fates, Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy, Taika Waititi's movie. There was originally going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie and a Boba Fett movie, and those were both reworked for series, and unfortunately those series weren't the best received either. So let's talk about the canceled series now. We have the Lando series, which is now being reworked to a movie, but it's kind of unknown. Rangers of the New Republic, which may or may not be worked into Mando Season 3, probably the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, as well as Ahsoka. Book of Boba Fett Season 2, which was never confirmed, but it's like all but confirmed not happening. And then of course the Acolyte Season 2, the series was not renewed. So looking at that slate of canceled projects, what is going on? I'm just like, are they not vibing with these stories? Are they scared to take risks? People didn't love The Last Jedi when it came out, but that movie still came out. I didn't love it when it first came out, but now it's my favorite out of the sequel trilogy. And a lot of people have come around to that movie as well. And it did something different. And people just needed time to sit with it. We all go into these Star Wars projects with expectations. I mean, that's why I don't get into the leaks and the rumors all hardcore like I used to in the past, because I'd build up all these expectations, and when they didn't pan out, or it didn't pan out like I would expect in the movie or the show, I was upset. And why was I upset? Because of something I built up in my head that didn't happen like I expected it to. And like, just thinking that, hearing myself say it out loud, I'm just like, that's dumb. Of course, we all have like our wish list, things that we would love to see, but like, if we get to the point where we're convincing ourselves that these things are going to happen, and we don't allow there to be the possibility that it won't happen or that it might not happen, we're going to go into it set for disappointment. On top of not knowing where storytelling is going other than the Mandoverse, Star Wars Animation, The Bad Batch Season 3 ended this year, so we have no idea if we're getting anything for that anytime soon, or what it even could be. There's no hints for Star Wars Animation other than comments made by Brad Rowell, Jennifer Corbett, and Nika Futterman about the future of Asajj Ventress, but I've done plenty of videos on that. You can check them out in the cards. I'm ready for the Ventress show, but none of that's confirmed, so we don't even know what we're going to be getting for Star Wars Animation. So as of right now, the future of Star Wars storytelling is looking a little barren. Like, not that barren in comparison to like what we've got in the past, but in general it's just like, okay, we're doing the Mandoverse, like the whole Heir to the Empire story, but we kind of know how that ends. Like, the remnant of the remnant becomes the First Order, so we know where that's going to go. Thrawn's not around at that time, so unless, you know, him and Ezra are going to get pulled back to Peridia, he's going to die. So we know where that's going, but it's stories like The Acolyte and even Star Wars Animation a lot of the times that push the boundaries and take storytelling in Star Wars into new creative directions. That's why I'm excited about the new Jedi Order movie, because of all the new things it can bring post sequel trilogy, but also building upon everything that came before. I want to know the new lore that it's going to add in, and same with Dawn of the Jedi. I mean, it's the beginning, and there's going to be stuff there too. If they even touch anything from what's already been established in canon and even like tilt it one way or the other, are people going to be mad and trying to cancel the show? If they have, another chosen one who's a woman, or, a prophecy that, changed and took different shapes over time, that doesn't say Anakin is perfect and he's the answer to everything, are people going to be mad online? Yeah, they probably are, and they're going to try to ruin anybody else's enjoyment of it. Sometimes, after the fallout of the Acolyte, it makes me not excited for new Star Wars projects, because I'm just like, are we going to have to go through this every time, a certain corner of the fandom doesn't like something? Are they going to review bomb it? Are they going to be racist and misogynistic and homophobic? Are we ever going to move on from the Imperial era? Don't get me wrong. I love the Dark Times and storytelling that's been done there. I like the original trilogy. I like things that they've done in the comics and expanding upon it. But are we ever going to go anywhere else? Like, if they don't renew the Acolyte because it went years before the Skywalker trilogy, before the Skywalker saga, and didn't tie into it at all, are people going to like Dawn of the Jedi? Because that's not going to tie into it at all. Or are they going to be like, well, we probably shouldn't do that because people hated when we did something different. So let's just, have another season of Mando and Grogu. Let's just throw in their CGI Luke Skywalker because that'll make everyone in the fandom happy because we're bringing back this beloved character. It's just like, it's exhausting. It's honestly exhausting. And for me as a queer creator, like, sure, I was getting hate the entire time the Acolyte was going out and I was doing my reviews and posting about it online. But also, I didn't have my face in the videos because I just don't have the time to do that. So I'm like, I really need to be visible now. It's just so important. Representation is so important. Diversity in media is so important. Like, Star Wars is for everyone. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. We all have different things that we like. We all have things that we don't like. But that doesn't mean we can't all come together for our love of Star Wars. Some people feel that way and they want to make everybody feel the way that they do. And I don't want to hate the thing that I love. So that's how I feel. Let me know your thoughts on everything I discussed in the comments. Thank you if you stayed with me throughout this whole rant. Like I said, this was completely unscripted, off the top of my head, and I just felt like I really needed to talk about it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to my channel for all my Star Wars content, follow me on social media at ScottyHolidaySW, and check out my Discord where we can talk even more there. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.